Yeah, hi everyone. See, in the last session, I explained about static variables and instance variables. We know already. So once again, quickly, I'll write the code to make you more understandable. Static, either it is a method or it is a variable. Instance is the same story. Either it is a method or variable. Whatever it is, we can access using the class name. Next one, instance can access using object address. Using object address. So quickly I'll write one code to demonstrate that. Here it is. I'm taking one class. Class name is a test. Inside this, one static variable and one instance variable and one static method. You know that static methods we are defining using that static keyword. Static void m1. It's a static method. Static method. The next one is an instance method. Instance method we are defining is the one. Now, how can we call these things means what? We know already. If it is a static method using the class name. So what is the class name? Test.m1. How to access the value of static variable? The same story, but we are printing system.out.println a value equals to, just with the message. Same one, class name test.a. Next one is a instance. How can we access instance? Just create the object of the test. T is equals to new test of. Using that T, you can call instance method, that is M2, and you can access also system.out.println b value. Remember, you cannot access using the class name t.b. Static methods we are accessing using the class name. Static variables also we can access using the class name. Static methods you need to create object. We can access using the object, either method or it is a variable, both. So when you run the code, you will get the output like this. The default values 0 and 0 are printing. Now the brief discussion about instance variables. How can we give the values to instance variables? First one, remember that we already discussed about the constructor concept. Today concept is a parameterized constructor. What is the purpose? I'll explain. First, in a simple way, I'll explain. Here it is. I'm taking one class. Class name is employee. Inside that employee class, I'm defining one instance variable, but type is a string type. What is that variable? Is a name. What is the variable? Name. When you create object for this, what will happen? Just creating object of employee. E1 is equals to new employee of. This object creation process is very, very important. So what is that? See, when you are creating object, suppose here, what will happen? Employee E is equal to new employee. What happens here? First, the new keyword execute. What new keyword will do means it will allocate the memory. This is object at some location. This is some address. Just random location. Sir, why you have given 204858 means just a random integer value. Like house numbers, it is one memory location address where the object is created. This is object. Sir, what will happen inside? Inside, instance variables get memory and initializes with the default value. If it is integer, default value is 0. If it is name, string, default value is a null. I'll show you practically. Is a null value. Now this address 2048 will go and store into this variable E. E holds the address. E variable holds that address to make it pointing to, that is 2058. Now see, this is what happens when you are creating the object. Sir, I want to print now. System.out.println E1 dot name. So you will get the value is a null value. Null value you will get. Sir, how many objects I can create? Any number of objects. Sir, I want to change that null value. I want to change E1 dot name equals to, it's a string na? I'm just giving that name. Amar, I'm giving. Amar, that is just one second. Yeah, sorry. Here it is, I'm giving one name. It's a string na? So I'm assigning. Then what will happen? Automatically, this null value change it to that value what we have given. Just normally I'm writing this. Okay. Now if you display that one, E1 dot name, when you display, now you will get the value is Amar. Now remove this one. First one is not required. Sir, I'm creating one more object. After this, you can create or directly here only you can create. Employee E2 is equal to new employee of, then to E2 second object, different name I am setting. Different name. And then we are calling system.out.println E2 dot name. Different objects holds the data. Now we are executing this one. Executing this one. Look at this. The first object name is Amar. Second object name is Annie. What happens here when you are creating two objects? How many? Two objects you have created. So 2 times memory will be allocated. First object address is a E1. Second object address is a E2 stores. In first object name is a Amar. Second object name is a Annie. So here it is. When you call E1 dot name, it is executing. When you call E2 dot name, it is executing. This is how it is working. Okay. Please execute the simple code. One more example we will write. See, the same way, see parameterized, before explaining the parameterized constructor, I'm explaining this one. See, now here it is, sir. Suppose employee name is the employee name. What is the purpose of parameterized constructor? Sir, I don't want to create empty object like this with a null value. At the time of object creation only, I want to give the values to variables. I want to give values to variables. There. See, now this value, we need to pass in parenthesis of this constructor. And in this value, we are passing in the parenthesis of this constructor. Sir, where is the constructor? In this employee, we need to define that employee. Now this is parameterized constructor. It is taking string name. And a very, very important point, this dot name equals to name. Sir, what is this meaning? What is this meaning? Let me explain clearly. This is a predefined variable. It holds address of the object. Now, suppose new means what? Object will be created. Object inside that variable name gets memory. Name. After that, we are calling the constructor. This constructor value Amar will go and store into this variable name. It's a local variable you can access directly, but this value you need to assign to this dot name. This always represents instance variable. This name, it is allocated to this name. That name automatically will set to this one. That is. And finally, that object address will store into this E1. Right? E1 equals to some address. Next, you are creating one more object, new employee. So one more object is created at another location. Inside that, name gets memory. Now this Annie will come and store into this name. And that value is assigning to this. Sir, now this means this pointing to second object, current object, Annie. That is. And as usual, E1 dot name and E2 dot name printing. Sir, why this is pointing to different objects? Yes, this is pointing to current object. So what is that current object? Right, let me explain clearly. Suppose if there is a ATM machine, this is ATM machine, consider. Right here it is a database is there. Consider here so many objects are there, details. One customer came and one customer swiped the ATM card in that. Now that here withdraw method only. Withdraw method, if you write this, it is connecting to this object, someone object. Next, another customer came. Another customer also swiped the ATM card to perform withdraw operation. But by the time, this is not pointing to first person account details, pointing to second person account details. Then third person came. Third person is also right here. It is swiping that ATM card. Then it is pointing to the third person details. So every object, this is representing by number of objects. It is pointing to the current object. Now the final concept is, what is the purpose of parameterized constructor? Whenever you are creating object, if you want to store some initial values inside the object, you must use parameterized constructor. When you run the code, you will get the same output only. We'll see multiple examples, then you will get clarity on this. Don't worry. Okay. Please practice the simple code quick. Drop the code in the chat box. Right. Now writing another example with multiple values. See, not only a string, suppose if I'm taking employee ID, employee name, or already employee you have seen, multiple will see. Suppose if I take a student, class, student, student ID, student ID, student name, multiple I'm writing please. Student course is a string, na? You can write separately or directly name comma course. And what is the fee? Suppose double is a fee. Total four are there. Four. Now constructor, parameterized constructor you are taking. Simply here it is a student. In parameterized constructor, you must define like this. Int ID, string name, string course, double fee. And inside how to assign this dot ID equals to ID, this dot name equals to name, this dot course is equals to course, this dot fee equals to fee. This is the way. Now you can create object for student S1 is equals to new student of passing the values 101 name Java course fee for example 20,000. Next one more student S2 equals to new student of 102. Suppose Annie is a Python course is a 10,000 fee. Suppose I have taken like this. So two objects will be created now. In two objects, first object contains the values, second object contains the values, different values contains. Now, sir, how can we access? It's a simple way. One by one, like this. System dot out dot println s1 dot id. Clearly, we know that concatenation and all clearly. Details s1 dot id, comma. Got the pointer? S1 dot name, comma. S1 dot course, comma. S1 dot fee, like this. This is S1 details. You know concatenation concept, right? That's why I'm using that one. Here it is like this. S2 details, S2 dot ID, S2 dot name, S2 dot course, S2 dot fee. With comma separator, how can we write all these things? We know when you run, the details will print side by side like this. All the details with comma separator we are printing because we concatenating very clearly. Okay, please do this everyone. Drop your code quick. Okay, right. Hope you have written. See one small modification in this. One small modification. Sir, every time instead of calling like this one you need to write. Here I am writing one method. Just void. Method name is a details method. In this details method, we are writing. But in details method, when you are adding system.out.println, this dot id, same class, comma, this dot name, comma, this dot course, comma, this dot field, like this. Then how to access this one? Details. Simply we call like this. S1 dot details. Then this method will call on S1 object. S2 dot details. It will call on S2 object. I already told you, if two objects are there, two objects, account number one, account number two. If you call or if you insert the first card, it is connected to this one. If you insert the second card, it is connected to this one. So E1 dot details means E1 details object only. It's S1 only. And here it is S2, like this. When you execute the code, is the output like this. Okay, do this. Okay, so hope you understood the parameterized constructor. Just multiple examples, you just try, like employee details, student details, customer details, product details, like this. Just execute the same type of code 4 times so that it will be very easy for you, to everyone. Okay, na? In the next session, I'll explain the private variables. Then slowly we are introducing encapsulation, inheritance, abstraction, and polymorphism concepts. Then we complete the OOPS concepts. Okay, thank you.